The name of the story, Snowbound Hearts, Aspen, Colorado. The air in Aspen felt like a secret. It was crisp, biting, alive with a kind of magic that could only exist in mountain towns draped in snow. For Lily Morgan, stepping off the shuttle bus in front of the resort lodge was like walking straight into a snow globe someone had shaken just for her. Snowflakes danced in the air, swirling under the glow of lanterns strung across wooden beams, and the scent of pine carried on the wind. She tugged her suitcase behind her, its wheels clumsy against the icy ground, and hugged her scarf tighter around her neck. This was it. Her first ski trip, her first real winter adventure. She had promised herself she would say yes more often this year, that she would step outside of her comfort zone, quite literally. First time in Aspen, the concierge asked kindly as she approached the check-in desk inside the Grand Lodge. The lobby smelled of cedar and hot cider, the stone fireplace crackling with logs as if it had been waiting for her. Yes, Lily admitted with a small smile. Actually, first time skiing too. I'm a little nervous. The woman's eyes twinkled knowingly. Don't worry, dear. We have the best instructors on the mountain. You'll be in good hands. Lily hoped that was true, because deep down, she wasn't sure if she was more terrified of skiing or of making a complete fool of herself in front of strangers. The next morning, she stood at the base of the beginner's slope, bundled in a puffy white jacket, her cheeks already tingling from the cold. The sky was a dazzling blue, the mountains rising sharp and proud around her, cloaked in endless powder. Children zipped past on skis half their size, laughing like it was the easiest thing in the world. Lily's heart thudded. She wasn't sure she could even stand up on skis, let alone glide down a hill. Morning, a voice said behind her, warm and steady, carrying easily over the crunch of snow. She turned and nearly forgot how to breathe. The man standing there wore a dark ski jacket and a wool beanie pulled low over messy brown hair. His eyes were the color of alpine lakes, sharp blue, but softened by a patient smile. I'm Alex, he said, holding out a gloved hand. I'll be your instructor today. For a moment, Lily just stared at him, blinking like the snowflakes caught in her lashes. She managed to take his hand, shaking it clumsily through the layers. Lily, she replied. Sorry in advance if I'm terrible at this. Alex chuckled, the sound deep and easy. Everyone starts somewhere. Falling is part of learning. His grin widened. Besides, the snow's soft. You'll survive. Somehow, his confidence made her feel a little steadier. They started slowly. Alex showed her how to buckle her boots, how to snap into the skis, how to stand without wobbling too much. Lily's legs felt foreign, her balance shaky, but Alex never once made her feel foolish. He moved with calm certainty, explaining every step with patience, his voice carrying warmth that kept her from retreating into nerves. When she stumbled, he caught her elbow lightly, steadying her. When she frowned, frustrated, he smiled and said, We're doing better than you think. But of course, the inevitable happened. Halfway through practicing a glide on the gentle slope, Lily lost control. Her skis crossed awkwardly, her knees locked, and before she knew it, she was pitching forward, straight into Alex's arms. The world slowed. One moment she was tumbling, the next she was caught, pressed against a chest that was firm and radiating warmth even through the layers of winter gear. Alex's arms closed around her instinctively, steady, strong. Lily's breath hitched, her cheeks burning hotter than the fireplace back in the lodge. You okay? He asked softly, his face close enough that she could see the flecks of darker blue in his irises. Lily's heart raced, so wildly she thought he might hear it. She managed a shaky laugh. I think so. Sorry. I warned you I'd fall. Like I said, Alex murmured, still holding her just a second longer than necessary. Falling is part of learning. When he let her go, she wasn't sure if she felt relieved or disappointed. By the time the lesson ended, Lily had managed a few awkward glides without toppling over. Her legs ached, her hands were cold, and her hair was a mess beneath her helmet, but she felt triumphant. Alex gave her an approving nod. You did great today. Same time tomorrow. Lily hesitated only a second before smiling back. Yes, definitely. As she walked back toward the lodge, snow crunching beneath her boots, she caught herself grinning like she hadn't in months. Maybe this trip was about more than just learning to ski. Maybe, just maybe, it was about learning to open her heart in ways she hadn't expected. The next morning dawned silver blue, the peaks of the Rockies gilded in sunlight, as if someone had brushed them with gold. Lily woke in her lodge room to the muffled hush of snow falling outside her window. She sat up, wrapped in a quilt, and stared out at the wintry world, her breath fogging the glass. Yesterday's lesson replayed in her mind like a highlight reel. The moment she'd tumbled into Alex's arms, the warmth of his voice, the way his steady gaze had made her feel safe. She told herself it was silly to fixate on her ski instructor. After all, he was just doing his job. But still, she couldn't deny the way her chest had fluttered. She made her way down to the resort cafe, bundled in her thick sweater and jeans. The aroma of fresh coffee and pastries welcomed her, along with the sight of Alex already sitting at a corner table, sipping from a steaming mug. "You're early," she said with a small smile as she approached. He looked up, that easy grin spreading across his face. "I could say the same about you." "Nerves?" "Maybe," she laughed, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "More like excitement, I think. Which is strange, considering how much I fell yesterday." "Falling and excitement go hand in hand," Alex replied. "That's half the thrill of skiing." Something about the way he said it made her wonder if he was talking about more than just skiing. Their second day on the slopes went better. Alex guided her patiently through wider glides, showing her how to shift her weight, how to trust the slope instead of fighting it. When she wobbled, he was there. When she succeeded, he was the first to cheer. At one point, after she managed a small run without falling, Lily threw her arms in the air. "Did you see that?" she cried, laughter bubbling out of her. Alex clapped his gloved hands together. "I saw it. That was perfect." Her joy was contagious. Even he couldn't stop grinning. Later, as the snow thickened and the sky dimmed toward evening, they retreated to the lodge. The fireplace roared, and the lounge was alive with the sound of skiers recounting their day's adventures. Lily and Alex found seats by the hearth, mugs of hot chocolate warming their hands. The heat of the fire painted Alex's face in amber light. Lily stole glances at him as he leaned back in his chair, the flames flickering in his blue eyes. She wondered how many times he had sat here with students, how many beginners he had guided. And yet, why did it feel like this was different? "You know," Alex said, breaking the silence, "you're braver than most people I teach." Lily blinked, startled. "Braver? I can barely stay upright." "That's exactly it." He shifted forward, his tone thoughtful. "Most people are afraid to even try. They let the fear stop them. You fall, and you get back up. That's courage." Her throat tightened unexpectedly. She wasn't used to being seen like that. Not just as clumsy or inexperienced, but as someone willing to try. Someone who could be brave. "Thank you," she said softly, fingers tightening around the mug. Alex's gaze lingered on her, gentle but unwavering, as if he had more he wanted to say, but was holding back. Over the next few days, their rhythm fell into something natural, almost effortless. Mornings on the slopes. Afternoons warming up in the lodge. Evenings filled with conversations that stretched longer than Lily expected. They talked about everything. The best local diners, the strangest ski fails Alex had witnessed, Lily's life back home in the city. She admitted she worked in marketing, but had been craving something more adventurous, more real. Alex listened, really listened, and shared bits of his own life too. He'd grown up in Colorado, learned to ski before he could ride a bike, and had once dreamed of competing professionally. But when life took different turns, he found he loved teaching just as much. "It's not about medals," he told her one night as they lingered by the fire. "It's about moments. Helping someone find joy on the mountain. That's enough for me." Lily admired that about him. He seemed grounded, at peace in a way she wasn't sure she had ever felt. But with every laugh they shared, every brush of his hand as he helped her adjust her gear, the air between them thickened with something unspoken. One afternoon, as the snow fell in soft, heavy flakes, they found themselves alone on a quieter trail. The world felt hushed, muffled by the storm, just the two of them standing in a white wonderland. Ready to give this one a try? Alex asked, tilting his head toward a slope a little steeper than she'd done before. Lily hesitated, biting her lip. It looks fast. He stepped closer, his voice low, reassuring. I'll be right here with you. You won't be alone. Her pulse quickened. She knew he meant the slope, but she felt the words sink deeper, warming her from the inside. Taking a deep breath, she nodded. And together, they pushed off. The wind rushed past her. The snow glittered beneath her skis, and adrenaline surged through her veins. She wobbled, nearly lost balance, but Alex was there, steadying her with a hand at her back. When they reached the bottom, she burst out laughing, exhilarated. That was amazing, she gasped, cheeks flushed, eyes shining. Alex's smile was wide, proud. See? Told you you could do it. And then, as the snow fell thick around them, they simply stood there, catching their breath, staring at each other. The moment stretched, fragile and electric. Lily felt her heart pound as if urging her forward. She didn't know what this was becoming, didn't know if it was foolish. All she knew was that she hadn't felt this alive, this scene, in a very long time. That night, back at the lodge, the storm raged outside, snow blanketing the world in silence. Inside, the firelight glowed golden, wrapping them in warmth. They sat close, shoulders almost touching, hot chocolate forgotten on the table. Lily turned to him, her voice barely above a whisper. I'm glad I came here. Alex's eyes softened. Me too. Their gazes held, the air between them buzzing like static. He leaned in slightly, not closing the distance, just waiting, giving her the choice. And Lily realized she wanted this. She wanted him. The storm that had rolled in the night before transformed Aspen into something out of a dream. The morning sun spilled over the mountains, setting the blanket of fresh snow aglow like diamonds scattered across the slopes. Icicles glittered from the eaves of the lodge, and the air held that hushed stillness that only comes after a heavy snowfall. Lily lingered by her window, watching skiers carve elegant paths down the sparkling mountainside. She pressed a hand to the glass, her heart already restless. This trip had begun as a whim, a challenge to herself to do something new. She hadn't expected it to feel like this, like something was shifting inside her, thawing after years of playing it safe. And she definitely hadn't expected Alex. She thought of the way he'd steadied her yesterday on the slope, the quiet warmth of his smile by the fire, the way their gazes had lingered until words seemed unnecessary. Her stomach fluttered just thinking about it. Maybe today, she told herself, something would happen. They met, as usual, at the base of the mountain. Alex greeted her with his easy grin, though there was a trace of something softer in his eyes, as if he, too, felt the weight of something unspoken between them. Perfect day for skiing, he said, gesturing at the sky, a flawless sweep of blue. Perfect day for falling. You mean? Lily teased, though her smile betrayed her excitement. He chuckled. We'll call it progress, not falling. Their morning was filled with laughter and triumphs. Lily was steadier now, more confident, and with Alex's encouragement, she tackled slopes she never would have dared on her first day. Every time she faltered, he was there. Every time she succeeded, he was the first to cheer. By midday, they were flushed and exhilarated, and Alex suggested a break. They hiked up a short trail near the ridge, away from the bustle of the main resort. The snow was deep, muffling their steps, and the trees stood heavy with white. When they reached the overlook, Lily gasped. The valley stretched out below them in breathtaking silence, mountains rising proud against the winter sky. Snowflakes had begun to drift again, lazy and delicate, dusting their jackets and eyelashes. It's beautiful, she whispered. Alex glanced at her, not the view. It is. Her cheeks warmed at the way he said it. They lingered there, their breaths fogging in the cold, until Lily finally turned to him. You know, I came here to learn skiing, but she hesitated, nerves tangling her words. I think I've been learning something else too. Alex tilted his head, curious. What's that? She drew in a breath. That sometimes you just have to let yourself fall and trust that someone will be there. For a heartbeat, the world seemed to pause. Then Alex smiled, slow, certain, and so full of warmth it made her chest ache. "You can trust me," he said quietly. The distance between them closed almost without thought. Snow drifted down around them, silent witnesses, as Alex leaned in and Lily met him halfway. Their lips brushed softly at first, tentative, then deepened as the unspoken tension of days melted away. It was gentle, yet fierce in its truth, the kind of kiss that made the rest of the world fade until there was only warmth, only them. When they finally pulled back, snow clung to their hair, their breaths mingling in the frosty air. Lily laughed, giddy and breathless. "Well," she said, her smile unstoppable, "that was definitely better than not falling." Alex laughed too, brushing a snowflake from her cheek with his glove. "Best fall I've ever caught." The rest of the day passed in a blur of joy. They skied, they laughed, they shared stories that seemed to pour out more freely now that the silence had been broken. By the time evening came, they found themselves once again by the fire in the lodge, hot chocolate in hand, shoulders pressed together as though it had always been that way. Lily thought about tomorrow, about going home, about the life she would return to, but instead of dread, she felt possibility. She had come to Aspen to face her fear of falling. She was leaving with something she hadn't dared to hope for, someone who made her want to keep saying yes to the unknown. Alex glanced at her then, catching her gaze in the firelight. "So, same time tomorrow?" Lily laughed softly, her heart light. "Yes, definitely." And outside, as snow fell softly on a mountain town, the world seemed to glow just a little warmer. The end. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it.